Welcome to the show. Geek Insider presents Into the Geekverse, the place to get an inside look at movies, comics, games, tech, and everything exciting going on in the Geekverse. Join Matthew Harris and David King as they take a deeper look at the good, the bad, and the downright terrible things our Geekverse has to offer. With live chat, geek news, special guests, and lots more. So sit back, relax, and join us for a peek into the Geekverse.
Welcome back, everyone. Tonight we have a special episode going over the newly released Black Adam from the DC movies. Now, we will have a word from our sponsor later on in the show, but jumping into this, Matthew, we both recently went to go see this. Tell me your opinion about it.
Well, first, everyone's got to understand that we see these kind of movies and we usually immediately talk about them the moment the second one has seen it. And of course, this show has changed that dynamic. We save it for the show. I sent David a one-sentence thing that this is all I'm going to say. But, this is a Friday edition of Into the Geekverse. It's official. Our official sponsor is Colgate. We'll hear from them in a little bit here. But what I thought overall is I just got one thing to say to the critics, and I have no idea what you think about it. But I say fuck the critics. I enjoyed the hell out of it, man. Both me and Brenda did.
I second it. I was really, we're going to be honest with you folks. We have so much going on planned. You'll hear later. We got an episode tomorrow, and we got an episode Sunday. So you'd be tuning in every single day for these special episodes. But there's so much going on. We even contemplated holding off and seeing it because it's a little bit old. There's bad reviews. Right. I'm glad we didn't. I don't know about you, but I'm glad we went and saw it and didn't change plans because I thought it was a good movie. Dare I even say a great movie? I would say it was as skeptical as Venom. A lot of people were talking about how trash it was, the first one. The second one,
we can kind of agree on that.
I'm really glad that we went and saw that, and I had a good time seeing it. But ladies and gentlemen, you didn't come just to hear us say it was good. Go check it out. We are going to be breaking this down, telling us about what we like, what we didn't like. So stay tuned. But Matthew, why don't you start us off with the first thing that comes to mind that you want to tell our audience about this movie?
Well, one, don't listen to the critics and don't pay attention to Twitter. I mean, and I've seen good and bad both. And I actually meant to grab a couple of tweets that I saw on both sides of the coin because some of the negative stuff that I saw come up, I do agree with. I agree with their point of what was wrong, but I don't necessarily agree with them saying it ruined the whole entire damn movie. But they bring in the Justice Society, and my big thing is I didn't know much about any of these characters. I knew Black Adam was in the Shazam world. I knew about Dr. Fate, of course. I had heard about Atom Smasher. I had not heard of Cyclone. And of course, I've heard of Hawkman. You can't be a DC fan without knowing who the hell Hawkman is. But so I knew there was a Justice Society, but so going in, and we could. I don't want to skip too far ahead because there's a big point I have to bring up here shortly because it really bothered me. And folks, we didn't mention it yet. There will be spoilers, mate.
And guys, for everybody else who's had a chance to check this out and you're catching us live, make sure to drop those comments. We'd love to talk about your favorite moments, your dislike moments.
And if you disagree with us, tell us in chat. I might say screw you, but no, I'm just kidding. Tell us your point because we're open to this. But, as I was saying, I didn't have a lot invested in these characters, so I didn't have expectations going in. I knew
there was another movie that we said that about before going into it. Do you remember? It was Eternals. We didn't know anything
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
We went
exactly,
in and
exactly.
watched it. And guys, if you're ever a huge fan of like DC or Marvel and you don't know much about them, don't listen to the critics. Be blank. Just go into it blank-minded and just enjoy it for a movie. I guarantee you're gonna have a better experience when you just sit back and let yourself
Well,
enjoy it.
and conversely, man, I mean, we are huge fans of Batman, and we have seen so many iterations of Batman, and we see people going absolutely batshit, no pun intended, but that they hate the Pattinson or they hate Affleck. And even though we both agree on Batman v Superman and the Clooney Batman, but for the most part, we can accept any vision of Batman because we look at it as an Elseworlds type tell. And so we can go in without blinders on the characters we love. But when these ones come out that we don't know that much about, and they still draw us in, they give us a good storyline and the back history or the character development and everything. And I was afraid because I've been batting a little bit off lately. I've told you, oh yeah, this movie is great, which we got one coming up Sunday night we're going to talk about. And you're like, no,
Woo,
man, I
don't
didn't
miss
like
that,
it.
guys.
I didn't like that much at all. So,
But getting into what we're here to talk about with Black Adam, before I jump into, I've kind of taken notes throughout the movie, from start to finish. Was there anything you wanted to say about the beginning of the movie before I kind of jump into, my notes on the beginning?
it takes a spin. I thought I knew what was happening there, and I thought the little boy was going to be Rock or Dwayne Johnson's character.
Yeah.
I thought that's who that was, and then of course later we find out something different. But I liked that opening scene because we do get that backstory.
Yeah. I mean, getting into it, you get a little bit more about Black Adam rather than like he's just appearing, he's just a villain or anything like that. So I could agree. I wouldn't necessarily say that I liked it. It was okay, but I mean, I feel like we have such a standard from Marvel. I've just been kind of waiting for DC to match the just, oh, this is so amazingly intertwining throughout the whole movie. And I feel like this one was good, but I guess my bar's still set a little bit high, if that makes sense.
Okay, but has that Marvel bar not been chipped away at a little bit lately?
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I guess it was such a big ending that everything wrapped up. I'm still in that.
They got a long way before that bar comes any far down. But no, I thought the beginning was okay. Yes, it's slow, but we can't expect action to come right out of the gate. I did think it was kind of goofy that digging in all this dirt, homeboy finds this big ass crystal, that
Eternium.
Yeah, Eternium. And then all his homeboys turn on him. They're finna kill his ass.
Well,
I guess because they all thought they were going to get rewarded if they were the ones that turned it in.
And I think
why did they listen to the boy? Why did they all just stop when the boy said stop?
Exactly. And that's what I mean about the fine tuning. What I would imagine is okay, you want us to drive home the idea that this is a slave society, this dictatorship kind of thing. I mean, he is brutal to his workers, but why not be like, why not have the mob being like, no, the reward's mine. No, it kind of drives home the idea more of understanding in the moment what they're doing. And so, and then also the boy, why not give him a second to be like, y'all, like we as a people need something more direct to tell us why they're choosing to believe in the boy. These little nuances that you could take a second for dialogue goes a long ways.
Yeah.
But I know also they were, like you were saying before, some of the reason to being holding back in that is later development in his backstory, but I think that that little bit would have gone a far way. So I absolutely agree with you.
Because
that's a little bit I'm mentioning.
They just all of a sudden the whole damn crowd is like, oh, okay, we won't kill this motherfucker because little Baldy here says not to.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in and you're not used to Into the Geekverse, or me and my co-host Matthew Harris, we love plots and development, characters. We love also
into the Geekverse. We like diving into.
We also like movies that let us come to our own conclusion. It makes you more excited, but there's a time for it and there's not a time for it. When you're at the beginning of a movie and you're concluding like a backstory that needs you to make the audience more developed into the story, that's not a time for it. A time for it is when you're reaching the climax and you're trying to decide the way that the movie's going and you're using foreshadowing to let the audience come to their own conclusion. That is a good use for it. Of course, these are our simple critics. Once again, guys, like Matthew said, come argue about it. Come at me, bro.
And so where we were at, there is a slave that's digging, pulls out the Eternium. Everybody start messing with him. Little boy comes up and he says, stop. Y'all shouldn't be fighting. We shouldn't be fighting each other. You know, we have a common enemy. Y'all leave him alone. And he takes old man through the crowd. They go up to one of the guards and they're like, look, we found some. And the guard was like, okay, what the hell are you waiting for? Yeah, the king. Yeah, exactly. The king thanks you. And then he's
we're
waiting. Like, what are you waiting for?
Lord, I'm owed.
Yeah. And he said, the king's thanks is what you're owed, basically. But come here. And he takes him and pulls a fucking Sparta on him and stabs him and kicks him over a wall. And folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm seeing some across different platforms signing in. Thank you for tuning in, but we are talking about Black Adam, and there is spoilers. So he kills the old man, and then he asks the kid, does he want his reward too? And the kid's like, or his kid's dad comes up. We don't see his dad. We do see his face. But he's like, no, my son, it begs your forgiveness or whatever. He knows not. And then they take off.
And he tells the son, like, don't be so foolish. And this for like the birds and cemeteries are full of heroes. And continue. And from that moment, the kid's like, no, we need more heroes. So he turns and he runs. He yanks the Eternium out of the guard's hands and starts running off above this giant cliff, overseeing miles of slaves digging in the dirt for this Eternium. And he raises it up and he does this. And this is a very important thing throughout the story. And it kind of gets all the slaves to stop. And they're like,
well, and we do need to kind of pause and do a rewind. They're digging for Eternium because the king needs it to build this crown that he is going to be able to get the opposite of Shazam. Basically, you got the wizards on the good side, you got demons to the left of me, jokers to the right. Never mind. Sorry.
Here I am.
Exactly. But yeah, he's going to build this crown, and he needs this Eternium in order to do it. And so that's why he's got all these slaves. But when he took power, he was supposed to be a good king, and then he went nuts wanting this all power, and so he enslaved his own people. He was a savior. He was a savior at first, but he turns into the slave master. And so, go ahead.
Now, once this comes, we go into modern times, but I've got to talk about when you see the archaeologists dig going on, which is later in the story. And I know for time's sakes, we'll spare y'all from the details of the entire movie. Me and Matthew could go about.
Yeah, exactly. We could go back and forth.
In present time, there's this lady who is going with her brother and some other people looking for this crown. And, it's kind of this whole archaeologist kind of thing. And she comes across these writings on the wall, which is supposed to be a language, right? But So these are the type of details that bug me, as there's not a presentable pattern for language. It was just like kind of the same
Right.
thing, same
Yeah,
thing.
it wasn't hieroglyphics. It was lazy writing, and
Just
yeah,
here, line, 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 line.
yeah, it
It's
was.
the same thing. And she was reading it from it, and I'm like, you got that many different changes in the language, but the same thing on the wall. I just thought it was a little bit lazy. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I'm just kind of like,
Right.
yeah.
No, it was lazy writing. And
Now,
so go ahead.
oh, I was just going to mention the beginning of the movie, or technically, as I discovered the entire movie, the music is almost up to par with James Gunn's music selection for Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved the
Yeah,
music selection.
now that you bring it up, it did have a good soundtrack.
Yeah, and even the guy in the car and stuff, like it was little chuckles, and it kind of just made me enjoy a little bit more into the movie. It's good.
It was, and at this point, so like he said, the girl and her entourage, they're going looking for this crown. They have pinpointed it to this one mountain. They get into the mountain and they're going through. Oh wait! Oh, shit! We're gonna just reveal too much.
Are you going to talk about
city?
Where the guy fell?
No. I'm gonna back up a second. The city where, man, we got to back way up. The little boy, before we're back in modern day, the little boy does his little triangle thing. King gets pissed off that he's got people following him. They go to kill him. And right as they're about to strike him down, homie disappears. Poof.
Yep.
And
that's where you see the tribal of wizards gathering around, singing the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of. I wish I could remember all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Names, but the same ones as Shazam.
Yep.
Same character that plays.
And this is 5,000 years ago. We should say this was back 3,000 BCE, and so they instill the power of Shazam in this kid. And then it's told that he comes in and he whips that king's ass right before he puts the crown on and gets the demons, the alternatives of the wizards.
At the beginning of the movie, he comes in and fights.
Oh yeah, it just
crown, And the entire building explodes, and they never see the champion again. That's what takes us to the present day.
Right. And then so they're looking for the crown. The group comes in. Blah blah blah. They get in. But we find out that the city that the king had ruled over, of course, it had come along to modern day, that it was under rule of mercenaries. They basically have turned it into a police state. They are mining for the Eternium, and nobody has come to help them. Nobody. They have left this country just defenseless, and at the mercy of these guys, these invaders. And so then, so the girl, the archaeologist or whatever she is, and her crew, they're going looking for the crown. They get into the mountain, and
before you get into the mountain, you see a little bit of the smart aleckness of the kid, because as the woman is hiding in her brother's electronic van, trying to get through this checkpoint, he does this little smart ass attitude with the guard who makes them bypass the vehicle that has the mom in it, which is an excellent introduction to the character. Almost took too much time in this scene because of how much more there is to explore in the movie. But I think that they still did well. Because that kid did play such a crucial part.
And there's a lot we could talk about him and his mom. But
back to
the meat of the story. She walks into the cave. Go ahead.
We see that one person comes up behind her and she goes, "Oh, hey, where's this person? Oh, he went out to get some air." Like it pans. You see the brother out there, he's jamming in the car, and then bam, dead body falls from the sky. He's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And right there, I don't know about you, Matthew, but I called what was discovered later, right there at that moment. I don't know about you, but
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Especially
I
when he
saw it.
walked up and he said he had to get some air.
Yeah.
I knew from his look, and if you
And since y'all already know spoilers, we'll let you know. I think it's Ishmael, the guy who's in there, betrayed them and pushed the other guy off the cliff and killed him. But you don't know that yet. But it's
at
just
this point, but
we both of us
he gives it away because the body hits first, and then he ends up saying, "Oh yeah, I found him. He had to get some air." And so you knew that he was a bad guy.
I will say, as a good story writing kind of direction, later when they find this room where Shazam's tomb is, you later figure out, and where the crown is and stuff. This army comes in, starts shooting at them and stuff, but he is shackled, and so you're like, oh, maybe he's not the one who pushed him off, and then he gets punched, and you're like, okay, maybe I could be wrong. I was still 70% like, nah, he's still
Right.
doing it. But they did a good job still trying to let you know, like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
that
then
it
maybe
was-
not. So
Yeah.
she gets the crown. They're trying to escape. They're about to kill her and stuff. And then she speaks the words written down on the bottom. Black Death Adam, which we do discover his name is. He's spawned, and he just takes everybody out.
No. She says Shazam. She says
she
his name.
reads the writing on the floor.
Yeah.
And then he appears, which we figure
Right.
out his name is Death Adam, but he's
Right,
summoned just like Shazam with the word Shazam, because it's the same wizards who gave up the same power.
Bro, it's not Death Adams, it's Teth.
Teth Adams?
Yeah.
Bro, really? The
Yeah.
entire time I heard Death Adam, and I was like, I guess it's just because he killed so many people and everything.
No, it's
I
Teth.
kind of
That
like
was the
Death
kids.
better, though.
Well, yeah, but
anyway.
yeah, no, it's Teth Adams. That was the kid's name. But anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
that
go
would
ahead.
make sense for the end. Okay.
Right.
So Ted Adams, and a rock almost kills her. He blows it up with lightning, saves her, goes to leave. He's blowing up all these helicopters and stuff that's outside. She makes her escape with her brother. They're driving away, and he confronts them in the vehicle, but then gets distracted by this rocket that's just like shot at him. And it's funny because great scene.
Yeah, this was a kick-ass scene, man. I enjoyed it.
Tech Adams, Black Adam, as y'all know him, lands. They stop the vehicle, and then you see them hand crank their windows up as he starts walking towards them. They're like, "I'm just gonna roll this up."
Right.
And he stops by the window. He turns and he looks at them, and then the brother freaks out. And he's like, "Rocket!" He turns around, he catches the rocket, and he's like, "Really? Is that all?" But then he sees the words Eternium written on it. Blows up on him. He then destroys the person who shoots the rocket at him, and then he goes to escape, falls from the sky. He's got this gash in him, and he's shocking with lightning. And she goes to touch him, and the brother's like, "Don't touch him." And she looks at him, and he goes, "He's made out of freaking lightning." And she goes, "Good point. You touch him." And he's like, "Huh?" And she's like, "You're the electrician."
Yeah. And so they take him home, or to her home. Well, she patches him up. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Well, to mention that, because more of just breaking down this for you, this is supposed to be a review. So going over that, I've got to admit, this was a great fight scene. I feel like a lot of movies lately have been really skipping or using suggestive filming where you piece together what's happening outside of the view of the camera. They didn't skip on this, which I love to see because they spent so many years on this. It is exactly what I would expect from a film that took that long with that.
And I think we have a lot to thank Dwayne Johnson for, because he was passionate about this project. He was a producer as well as, he had been advocating for it for, God, a decade maybe ish. But yeah, this battle scene, and I was hoping you weren't glossing over it when all of a sudden you jumped to, him going up to the window. Yeah, it was badass. I mean, he whips some ass in the cave, then he just like fucking thumps and blows a hole in the side of this mountain, comes flying out. Black Hawk helicopter comes down, and at one point he's even like, "Your magic's weak."
Yeah, they're shooting at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, when you're doing all these close-up facial features in the beginning, it gets better at the end, or I get used to it. But there's several points where I feel like the age of The Rock is pushed out more than I see in any movie. He looks just way older than anything else. Like
brother's 5,000 years old, and you're going to give him shit about his eye sags?
Yeah, dude, 100%. Like, I'm expecting this. I'm just saying that, like, in the end, it looked like the Rock that we all learned to love and see on the camera. But then at the beginning, you're just seeing, these lines and just stuff that just makes him seem like way older. And my question is like, is that meant to? Is he getting
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson, if you're listening, it was him. It's David.
Hit me up on.
I never noticed no bags, sir.
We will have you on the show to discuss this. But no, I mean, I'm just wondering, was it intentional? Was it not? And it's not necessarily bags. It's my apologies. I don't know what you would call it, but there was these lines that were like right about here.
Called getting old, motherfucker.
Well, I wouldn't know about that, would I? Matthew, would you want to tell us about that?
Hey, are you seeing? Wait, are you seeing? You really? No.
Yeah.
But at this point in the movie, man, and we are halfway through the show, and we're not even a
quarter of
close to halfway through the movie. But let's go ahead, and before we move forward, let's go ahead and thank our sponsor. This is the official sponsor of Into the Geekverse, and that would be Colgate, and they've got this message for you. We'll be right back. Hey, everyone. It's a known fact that when brushing, most people miss up to 40% of their teeth. But thankfully, the Hum by Colgate has you covered. Hum by Colgate is a smart toothbrush and app combination that will give you and the kids sparkling smiles and more of them. Colgate is the official sponsor of Into the Geekverse, and you can get into the rhythm of better brushing by heading over to shop.colgate.com. As an official insider, you can use discount code GEEK20 and get 20% off the Hum by Colgate. That's shop.colgate.com and discount code GEEK20. Man, the guy on that commercial sounds pretty good. Well, okay, so we are to the point. Freaking Black Adam. He says Shazam, damn it. Black Adam is hurt. The Eternium blew up, and it actually hurts him. It gut shots him in her apartment,
in a boy's room, surrounded by Superman, Batman, Flash posters. And the first thing he does is boom, blows up Superman's face.
Yeah, dude, just straight up face. And I swear, 3 times I thought Aquaman was Lobo. The way that they spun around that hair, and
we're waiting on a Lobo movie.
Yep. Hey.
But hey, check this out. We both acknowledged that Superman's face was blown up. I'm dead pretty sure that they covered that up so you didn't realize that the end credit scene.
And we'll discuss that because
but I'm just saying it just dawned on me. They didn't want to show you before it happened that he is in this.
They destroy Kid's room later on. They destroy that entire effing apartment. They just really do. They
destroy 50% of it in like 1 second. And
it's never addressed. She never says, yo, I have to live here, or I'm not getting my deposit back, and there is like a hole into the hallway after he first, because he doesn't use doors. He just walks through, and then when he leaves, he does the same thing.
Well, and it gets addressed later in a really funny way. But moving on, since we're halfway through the show, he goes through the kids' wall. He goes to the living room. He's talking to the mother, the brothers, sitting down on the couch. But it's funny because, and I'll show you guys. I hope you're watching on YouTube. He literally does this. So there's a wall right here. He goes through the wall.
Wait.
This is a couch, and the guy's sitting on the couch, and he does this. He just moves the couch, bro.
And it ain't a small guy. It ain't a small guy. And he just but
and he looks at the guy, and then you see this Western on the TV. And it's the whole Western draw out that's about to happen. And
wait. Because now you're into my area. It was Clint Eastwood, ladies and gentlemen, and it was one of the classic Western shootouts. I didn't hear Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme song, so it was probably Outlaw Josie Wells or one of those, but he had his poncho on, and he was doing the quick draw, and which we get later in the movie. You'll just have to watch for that because we're not going to reveal everything on the show, but go ahead.
Exactly as he said. As you go to do that quick draw, he shoots the lightning and destroys the TV. The brother looks up and he goes, it's okay. I can fix that.
Yeah, because he's a TV repairman. But we need to skip ahead here. Black Adam. Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, about this same time, somewhere in here, lo and behold, we see Amanda Waller coming up, putting together a team. I won't get into it yet. I'll let you finish your thoughts on this. But she assembles a team and she tells them that they need to go arrest this fool, bring him to the prison. And because they're showing video of him fucking this army up. I mean, there's some cool shit in there, folks, because I don't want to give it all away, but he does some really cool stuff to take out this entire army that's coming at him, which we talked a little bit about earlier. But Amanda Waller, which you know from Suicide Squad and a couple of others, she's sending out a crew to go get Black Adam. And so pick up where you left off because I got some shit to say about the Justice Society.
It's awesome that you and me, I literally was going to jump to the point of big screen Amanda Waller. Exactly. And guys, we didn't plan this out. We're just trying to make it enjoyable for you guys. Right. And we were dead set on the right one. Well, Amanda Waller is talking to Hawkman. First thing, before I move on about Amanda Waller, and there is something that I got to do before I forget it, but what did you think about the portrayal of Hawkman? Even recently, I'm a huge fan and have watched the show Justice League, who gives us an idea of the Anagarians. I'm mispronouncing it, but it's the race that Hawkgirl and Hawkman is from. So just real quick, what did you think of this cinematic portrayal of Hawkman?
I only have a passing relationship with Hawkman. I liked this portrayal of him. Folks, if you don't know, it is portrayed by Aldous Hodge, and he's been in a lot of stuff. David, I don't know if you knew this, but he played John Stewart in this year's Green Lantern, Beware My Power.
Oh, wow. No. But
the animated. He does the voice for John Stewart. And so looks like bro's in a little bit of DC world. But yeah, I liked this portrayal of him.
So with that being said, we'll be able to talk about it, but about my opinion. But first, before I forget, when Amanda Waller talks to Hawkman and Hawkman tells Amanda Waller the team that they put together, did you see below the location or the name of the team or whatever the thing when Amanda put Task Force X? Yeah, it said that. It portrayed a thing, which is weird because that's supposed to be Suicide Squad. So is she treating the Justice Society as a Suicide Squad because of low-ranking heroes? A question for you all to let me know what y'all think. And if you disagree, if you think, let us know. Put it in the comments or send us an email to let us know. But, dude, I saw that and I was like, this isn't the Suicide Squad, though. She didn't get it from a prison. She didn't get that. They used Task Force X for Suicide Squad.
Right. And that's a good point. And it is kind of a hodgepodge, but she isn't. She's also not the one that put the team together. Hawkman. He's like, I've got this one, and there's only besides Hawkman, there's only one that I had heard of. But this, when they say this, and then it happens, they're heading in.
Well, now I do apologize. I wanted to say that before I forgot, but I wanted to tell you, I hated this Hawkman.
Really?
I did. Because Hawkman and the Ethergarians, my apologies for mispronouncing it, is from a different planet where they have wings on their back, as that
Oh.
is them as an alien race. They have wings.
Okay.
And 2, they're from a planet that rages war, and they kill in battle. And it's severely pushed through for Hawkman and Hawkgirl in Justice League when you're watching the shows or anything that I've seen. That has always been their thing. They are brutal. They are war machines. They will kill you with the mace and everything. And it's an iconic symbol.
They went way the wrong opposite way.
He's nice. He pushes saving everyone's life. And he's using
Falcon.
technology.
He's totally Falcon.
Yeah. And that was my next point. When did Hawkman get rich? Because he's an alien from another planet. And 2, why is everything out of technology and he doesn't have actual wings? So, guys, if you know about the comics, if you know about the shows and stuff, let me know if y'all agree with me or if you don't, because we'd love to have a conversation with you, even right now on the show, because that was my partake. And I will say, overall as a movie, and stepping back, if I didn't know that, it's totally fine. And they kind of do this, but it's one of those things that I would say I would appreciate if you didn't change, because that was a really big point in that character. And I feel like it's just too much to change. And me and Matthew went over this previously before the show about what's good to change and what's not good to change when introducing comics into the cinematic movie history. My opinion is this one shouldn't have been changed. And so I just wanted to say that. I know we're running through time and we'll get to the other characters, but leading into that, as he introduces it, Matthew, I'll go ahead and I'll let you explain to them. It is at this moment that we get an idea of all of the characters that you're seeing on the screen. Matthew, you want to tell us these characters?
Yeah, of course, we mentioned Hawkman. You can see above Hawkman is Pierce Brosnan, which you may know him from 007. He's been around a long time. He was James Bond for a little bit. Actually, I like him as him. That is Dr. Fate, which was the only other character I knew out of.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you're more of a Marvel fan than DC, Doctor Strange. He's Doctor Strange, but he's, a little bit different because
he's got godlike powers. He can see into the future.
Yeah,
he's like a vision
but he uses mystic powers to be able to. As you watch him do it, it looks a lot like Doctor Strange, except for his is fate. Everything is entwined with fate and his decisions and everything. Doctor Strange is just more power of the mystic art. So there is those differences, but watching him cinematically,
it was great. I really liked him as Dr. Fate.
Continue.
To the right of Dr. Fate is it's Adam Smasher, who is played by Noah Centineo. Man, I always with this tongue, I just am not destined to speak anything but Texan. But it's Noah Centineo, and I didn't know him from. He's in a lot of other stuff that I haven't seen, and that's just because it's not geek stuff, really. But then, of course, to the left of Hawkman, that's Cyclone. And this is another character I was not familiar with. It's played by Quintessa Swindell. And then to the left of them is the two just normies that are way involved. The architect and her son, not architect, archaeologist and her son. But yeah. Okay, so we kind of got to go fast forward here. We always do this. We spend a lot of time building the base, in which the movies do too, or the comics, or the books, or whatever. You have to build the characteristics. My biggest pet peeve happens at this point of the movie, and that is Amanda Waller and the Justice Society deciding that they can go in and invade this foreign country and force a man to go to prison just because he's killing some bad guys. And what was he supposed to do? He is getting attacked by a freaking army. He protected the innocent. He killed the bad guys. And then you got this whole group of enhanced beings coming in and saying, hey, you've been asleep for 3,000 or 5,000 years. You gotta go to jail. I know these guys tried to kill you, but you shouldn't have killed them back.
Yeah, it's this high and mighty look over stuff that really sucks because and guys, before you argue it, I understand the whole he's not worried about collateral and he'll eventually end up hurting more people and his power's too dangerous to be open, or you're trying to force him to be more aware because of all that. True, but you just jumped into we're scared of him, we're gonna arrest him. That's what it boils down to, man. They don't control him like Superman or something where they feel like they have a Hulk over them.
And Hawkman doesn't even come in and try to be chill. He's just like, there is two choices. And I didn't understand this bullshit when he says kneel or die and something to that effect. Why the hell did Hawkman tell him to kneel?
This was one of the things that I didn't like. Hawkman has way too many, I feel like they took wrong aspects. I feel like they took the attitude from the character, from the comics and from the shows and everything, where he's very demanding and like, I'm a god, I can do whatever. Like, he kind of has that attitude, but then you give him the, you can't kill anybody. And, they mixed it bad in my way. That's why I was saying I didn't really like
See, and I didn't know much about Hawkman, but with you describing that characteristics of him, I could see where that would be off-putting and where fans of that era of DC, or not that era, but that aspect of DC with Black Adam and Hawkman.
And just I gotta ask you, because we've talked about a lot breaking this down and stuff like that, and we're kind of giving reviews. Let me talk to you about something that I liked, and I want to see if you liked it. I'm going to start with describing it as, remember the scene where Black Adams, starts floating down the stairs very slowly and the kid is skateboarding and talking to him. I liked that because it had relevant conversation that later gets constantly exploited throughout the movie in a very funny way without feeling forced. It was just great.
And for me, it tied it into Shazam with that same kind of the kid superhero kind of thing, with Shazam and his buddy. And so, that tied it in for me. And it showed that, he just wasn't a killer. He wasn't just out to kill anyone, which we knew that because he
still has his superior.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He still thinks his shit don't stink and that he's above all. But yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, so we get down the stairwell and Black Adam sees a statue, and it's huge. I didn't get the depth of how huge it was until later.
Keep in mind, he's already seen this statue. If you remember when he's sitting on the boy's bed, he's showing him news articles from the past, and he shows them the statue saying,
but he didn't see it.
The winning champion. He didn't see it. He saw it in a newspaper.
Right.
So when he saw this, he's like, to me, he was like, I got to go check this out for myself. It's humongous.
Yeah, and then you see him, and he's like this compared to that thing. Mm-hmm. But, we are, as always, when we do these special kind of shows, we get to talking. And, folks, this is what this show is about, is taking that inside look into these kind of movies and television shows, the geek kind of stuff that we love. And, of course, there's always going to be spoilers. And even if you don't join the live show on YouTube, or you catch it on the podcast, or you catch the the recording on YouTube, leave comments. I'm getting better about checking comments and going through and replying to them. You can email us, David@geekinsider.com, Matthew@geekinsider.com. We'd love to hear from you. And if you think that we should be on a different night of the week on the regular show, the Sunday night show, let us know. I've seen a lot of you coming in and out. I never thought Friday nights would really be good for a regular show because that's when most of us are out drinking. Drinking. But, okay, so, before we do that, I got my Core Gaming shirt on here. And we do have another sponsor we need to hear from real quick because we're at that time.
Check it out. MobileEdge.com has award-winning products with innovative features and contemporary, edgy designs that empower you to look sharp and travel smart with your mobile tech. Your beloved, not to mention expensive gaming gear and mobile tech devices are an extension of you, so give them the protection and style they deserve wherever you go. Find them at MobileEdge.com and protect your tech with Mobile Edge. Bring it on. Hey Geek Insiders, Mobile Edge has a special coupon code for our dedicated listeners. Get 25% off your Mobile Edge gear using coupon code GEEK25. That's GEEK25. Geek out.
All right. How'd you end up over there? Get off my side. All right. So Justice Society comes in. They tell Black Adam, you got to go to jail. You can't kill. And you've got some notes from here. We kind of just need to hit some points on the rest of it. You know, we've set the basis of the movie. We know what is happening. We know there's the Justice Society coming at him. We know where he came from. Let's not spoil the whole thing in case there are some folks tuning in live. But what do you got up next?
Well, basically, you know, they have a fight scene trying to take in Black Adam or Tech Adam, as everyone's calling
him. Good fight scene.
And I'm going to point out one thing in there. Superhero movies, you see this Blur and all this other kind of stuff trying to translate high speeds, or even Superman. You see him flying through the air, and they do the air. But this entire movie, you see him in one space, a little shift, like distortion, and then you see him in another one, truly letting you know how fast he is.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I like that. First time in cinematic history that I got a real understanding of that speed. And I understand Superman's still fine. I still love it. I'm not dissing on it, but I'm just saying I like this change. I did like it.
Now, you do bring up something I want to bring up here real quick. Mm-hmm. When we see Black Adam at the beginning, when he is moving so fast, he is moving Quicksilver fast, and oh damn it, I forget which X-Men, where he's running through, he breaks out Magneto, and he's running through pushing bullets and everything. Black Adam's moving that fast. He is fucking with stuff. At first I'm going, they copied Marvel. Even though I think they took that idea, I do think they expanded on it. I think they did a decent job of slowing that speed down, because then you get an idea of just how fast this motherfucker's moving.
Yeah, and I really like that. And I like that people can universally use that to explain how fast of speed that they're going. So, you know, yeah, that was during the fight scene where he gets out of the temple when all that other stuff goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of speed, the ship that we see, did you notice that it's not a normal ship? It flaps its wings. Slowly, but it's got wings that flaps. So why does it need that if it's a ship that's flying?
Because it's Hawkman's bitch, and it was in the script.
But Hawkman can fly, and if you need a ship for the other ones, it just needs to be
That's
a normal
just a show.
ship.
I'm Hawkman. I'm here to rescue you.
Speaking of Hawkman, giving y'all a close-up image because we've gotten these once again. This is Hawkman. He doesn't have natural wings. They're technology. Same thing with his mace. I mean, you can kind of see his weapon, but like the whole thing comes out of the mace, like as technology.
It's like an old, or not an old, but you know, one of the billy clubs that you pop out, but it spins around. But now, go ahead.
Sorry,
no. Go ahead, because we got to spin. Yeah, we got to spin it up.
The next piece that I was going to talk about was when the brother is in there and the kid truly discovers that Ishmael had betrayed them and shoots the brother. Dr. Fate then arrives there and he's laying on the floor and he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Dr. Fate." And he goes, "Tell me, doctor, how bad is it?" And he goes, "Not that kind of doctor." And he looks into the Fate and he goes, "But this is not how you die. You die from electricity."
Yeah, and he's like, "But I'm a TV repairman, or I'm an electrician." And so I hope
That's
they play
great,
off of
right?
that.
You got some
Yeah,
really
that is.
comedic parts in this.
And I hope that they expand on that later, that he has to stop being an electrician because he's scared he's going to die from electricity. Because he
And-
took. Go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about the next part. Go ahead.
No, and that's what we need to move into. And James, I want to thank you for tuning in. And not David, Diana. I see a couple of you folks popping in. I see some of y'all popping back out. Where'd you go? Get your ass back here. We're still talking, but no. So
that's when the battle happens. The kid gets stolen, and now Black Adam, Tech Adam, is trying to find it. There's this big battle where he's getting these ones, ripping the flying motorcycle things open to check for them, blah blah blah. He takes out all of them, and he doesn't see them in any of them. And then he gets this projection of Dr. Fate up there. And the reason I bring this up is I love the saying. He goes, "Okay, great. Bring him back for interrogation. We'll find out where the boy is." And he goes, "You killed them, didn't you?" And then you wait, and you see in the background, you see him go, and you hear him, and he goes,
"He didn't make it."
Yeah, he didn't.
No,
he
didn't make it.
He didn't make it. And God, it was funny. It was.
It really was. And you know what's funny? We're going to kind of wrap this up. We're not going to give away spoilers of the ending. We still got a little bit we want to talk about, but the thing that I want to point out here is, folks, don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes or Twitter or even your own family, because we had it all. We had it all telling us you're not going to like this movie. And both David and I are like, And I was surprised to learn that when we both came on that we both enjoyed it. And I take it your better half enjoyed it, because mine did.
Yeah, she did. We went for a double feature. Actually, today was like a whole date day, so we were more focusing on that. But I think we both enjoyed it fairly well, and I even caught her chuckling from time to time. Yeah, guys. I mean, I know we're going to be wrapping this up and stuff. I wanted to mention for the ending. I feel like the whole thing built up where Hawkman should have died. And then Dr. Fate chooses to change fate.
Whoa. Don't give it all away. Don't give it all away. Now, y'all know Hawkman may or may not die. Remember, we're in a world. Oh, wait. The multiverse hasn't been introduced yet. We're still waiting on Flash.
Yeah.
But no, there is a lot that happens. Again, a big sticking point for me was the whole Amanda Waller, and even not Amanda. We don't see Amanda anywhere from there, but it's Hawkman is basically trying to impose their will on Black Adam. And Dr. Fate, though, he's trying to push that may not be the way. He's dropping those little hints, but Dr. Fate is one of those characters that I did know a little bit about. And so I knew he was just dropping cookies. I knew he wasn't going to just come out and say, no, this is what we got to do. I knew that combination there. And so I kind of expected some of the things that were coming. I didn't expect what happened. I'll say that. But we hadn't even talked about Sabak, which is the bad guy. And we got like 6 minutes left.
Getting into Sabak, which is the villain of the story, who's generated what we mentioned before, the demons that are like the wizards who give the villain power, becomes Sabak. And we have some images to show you. But during that fight scene, I wanted to make sure to ask you, how did you feel? Earlier on the plane, they mentioned to Atom Smasher, which here's an image for you. Atom Smasher on the left, and Cyclone on the right. Atom Smasher can grow really big, and Cyclone can control wind. Go check it out for a lot more of their powers than seeing it on the movie screen. But Cyclone says, don't touch it. Really bad things will happen if you touch it, and only the helmet decides who can use it and everything like that. How did you feel that at the fight at the end, just Hawkman could use it?
Yeah, he doesn't even hesitate. He just goes right up and picks it up. And he's like, a friend taught me this. And yeah, and then once it's all done, it just disappears. And he's like, I'll miss you, my old friend, or whatever. Yeah, that was some cheesy DC bullshit that I was hoping we wouldn't see. That it wasn't near as bad as the Martha moment, but
Right.
it was bad.
But talking about something that I do love is the portrayal from the comic book Sabak to the movie. And I'll go ahead and show here. Here's an example of the comic book Sabak. So you can see devil horns, the Samic symbol, his monstrous appearance, but still humanoid. Then the movie portrayal. I wish we could get you a little bit of a better, but I thought that they did really well. It looks a lot better on the movie screen than right here.
Well, of course, because it's in like 4K or whatever. Yeah, I did think, because again, I didn't know anything about the characters, and so you just are seeing the opposite. We knew Shazam, and then we know Black Adam gets his powers by saying the same word, and so this one he says Sabak, and he gets the opposite powers. And instead of the lightning bolt, he gets the pentagram. And so, but at this point, we learn that the Black Adam's fall is his temper. When he gets too pissed off, it gets to the point that it's just like a nuclear fucking weapon. Poof. And it kills everybody. You learn
I was gonna say we have a moment where it happens during present day, and even there's some more twists and turns we haven't revealed that if you want to know that you've got to go check out the movie.
Right.
But yeah, exactly what Matthew's saying. You know, we learned that his temper is a huge downfall to his abilities. Now I gotta say there's several different things that I could talk about, and I could talk about what happens when Amanda Waller gets involved again and the whole prison thing that Amanda Waller does.
We have to mention that, and we're going to go over a few minutes here, folks, so bear with us. But he goes ballistic again, and then he decides to say the name and lose his power, and he says, you have to ensure I never say this again. To Hawkman. And so he goes to one of Waller's prisons voluntarily. And they decide to put him in suspended animation. They matrix his ass. They put the thing in there and put him in water. And so
he can't speak as long as he's submerged in water, he says.
Yeah. But then, of course, shit goes sideways. Sabak comes into power. He gets the crown. And he whoops the shit out of the Justice Society.
Now I gotta ask you, where you're leading into that, you know, Dr. Fate calls upon Black Adam, Tech Adam, while he's in that suspended animation because, you know, Dr. Fate can do that. I gotta ask you, what was your opinion on him breaking out? Like once he gets released by Dr. Fate,
lazy writing.
My thing that frustrated me was, okay, so you did this. One, he doesn't look like he's strong enough to take on all those people, and he doesn't have his powers. Two, why didn't he pull it off? Like, I know he was struggling, but why didn't he do it and then say it and then leave? He tried to swim up from the bottom of the ocean.
That's why I backed up a little bit. I wanted to bring that up. That was my exact thoughts. He fought his way through all them motherfuckers, then jumps through that force field where it's holding back the ocean with this Bane-looking thing on him, Matrix thing going down his throat, and tries to swim up and then has to go through some shit before he can say it. I'm exactly on the same page. He should have said it at that point. But then, of course, Black Adam comes in. There is a big fight with Sabbat and Black Adam. Folks, we're wrapping up here. There is a lot to this story that we did not cover. We covered the basis of it, the basis of the characters, the basis of the storyline. DC does do after credit scenes, and we're going to ruin something here. So if you don't want to hear it, crank out. But before we discuss that end credit scene, David, was there anything else you wanted to say about the movie?
Guys, there's so much, and as we're racking it up, we're not going to go ahead and spoil anything more other than what Matthew was saying. But I've got to say, if you're tuning in and you're watching this, thank you for staying in and hearing what we've got to say about it. There's still more, and it's still an enjoyable movie. If you're hearing all these reviews, my recommendation is go in with an empty mind and enjoy it as a cinematic picture. We are critiquing a lot of the little stuff, but don't get us wrong. We enjoyed the movie. We hope you do too. And if you've liked this interim show, as we'll be talking about later, if you're tuning out now so you don't hear any more spoilers or anything, make sure to join us tomorrow as we're doing another impromptu show. And then Sunday, we got our normal one.
Well, tell them what it's about. You can't just say we're doing an impromptu show and just say tune in, motherfucker.
Guys, for all you Star Wars fans out there who's been watching our Obi-Wan and you watched our Andor, there is the new Jedi released series, short series on Disney that we're going to be going over tomorrow, also at 8 o'clock p.m. So make sure to catch us live and
Tales of the Jedi.
Your opinions.
It's Tales of the Jedi. It's 6 15-minute episodes that I truly believe, or once you finish it, you'll agree, it's a lead-in to Ahsoka, but there's a lot packed into it, and we're going to unpack it tomorrow night. And then, of course, Sunday night is our regular show, and since it's the night before Halloween, we're going to discuss 3 horror movies. We got the new Halloween, Halloween Ends. We got the new one that, the new one that just came out, Pray for the Devil, which David has seen. I'm seeing at 2 o'clock tomorrow Central, and we're going to talk about that Sunday night. And then there's this one that I found called X, which we got to discuss.
And make sure you tune in so you can tell us your favorite movies to see if we've watched them or not. Make sure, and you better believe we'll be adding it to our list if we have not caught that featured film yet.
Exactly. So, again, if you haven't seen Black Adam and you don't want spoilers, we're done with the movie. We're through the credits.
Mandalorian.
And I've seen somebody drop off there. I hope if you don't want spoilers, you're off, because Amanda Waller shows up. And Black Adam is still in the home city. He hasn't gone anywhere. And Amanda Waller says, all right. She pretty much said, I can't hold you in my prison. But she says, you don't want to be in my prison? Fine. You can't leave your city. And he's like, oh, really? He didn't really have any plans to leave it. And we know that from some lines he said beforehand. He's the protector. But she gives him a final command. He's like, bitch, you ain't got nobody that can make me.
Send all of them.
Yeah, send them all. Come on, I'm waiting. Well, then, none other. And we've known it was in the works. It was a possibility.
And even The Rock on social media has been teasing people. Have you seen those drops? He says
I haven't.
Black Adam is the strongest person on this earth. And then he goes, on this earth. And he did that on several social medias prior to this movie.
Well, no, I hadn't seen that. But don't let me forget, I did see one by the man who walks in is none other than Henry Cavill. And as Superman.
Know what that means?
And he's like, we need to talk. And which was great. I loved it. He has the curl of the old Christopher Reeve Superman. But what I thought was cool, because it ends there, and we can discuss that for a quick minute. But what I saw was Henry Cavill said, 2 days later, he's like, okay, I've been waiting to say this, but now it's all out. This is the tip of a very big iceberg. I'm paraphrasing. But
and I love that he was able to come out because I even loved him in Witcher. He is a big nerd, just like the rest of us who plays Witcher, the video games and stuff. I'm really excited to see him again in it. And my question for you is, seeing the bottom half of Superman in Shazam, do you think that we're going to get any movement in the next Shazam movie also with Henry Cavill? Since in the first one we got the bottom half of.
I think we'll see at least a guest appearance in Shazam. My question is, will Black Adam appear in the next Shazam? And will the next Black Adam start out with those two duking it out? And because Black Adam has already pretty much said he's going to be a good guy. And so I could see this going two ways, where either Superman's like, if you fuck up, I'm going to whip your ass if you come out of the city. And Black Adam going, okay, you're not going to tell me what I can do. Or Black Adam's going to say, look, man, I have seen the error of my ways. I'm going to stay here, but I'm here if you need me. And then we see something to that effect.
See, I think that if I see this, what's going to happen is Black Adam has something that he's got to do where he inevitably makes the hard decision where he has to kill whatever. And then you see Shazam come and fight him. But even though they have the same powers, as Shazam is just a kid, as well as he doesn't want to kill, he is not fighting at full potential where Black Adam is. And even in the movie Superman and Shazam, The Return of Black Adam, I would think Superman needs to come help Shazam, because even though they have the same powers, he can't use them at the full ability because he doesn't want to kill Black Adam. And Black Adam needs to complete his goal because he thinks it's for the greater good. And Superman and Shazam tried to stop him. That's where I could see that going if it is a Black Adam movie. I don't think that we're going to see him, if not just an end credit to the Shazam, because they've already released the trailers and heavily already dug you into the villains and everything. They've already thoroughly explained it in the trailer.
Well,
so I think if he's an end credit, it would be a teaser to a second Black Adam movie where it is Superman and Shazam versus Black Adam.
And of course, there's so many different ways that it can go. Yeah. I do know that Dwayne Johnson insisted that Black Adam was not going to be a villain. I do see him as the hero that kills, much like Venom. That the reluctant hero, he didn't want to be a hero, but if he's going to be a hero, he's going to do it his way. And so I see that the direction that it's going. I definitely know we're going to see more Black Adam, no matter what Rotten Tomatoes says. I personally, and you guys can throw this in chat, you can throw me emails, I am more impressed with the way DC has gone in the last year and a half than what I am with Marvel. Don't get me wrong. I think Disney is doing a fantastic job with Star Wars. I am very worried with what they are doing with Marvel.
They need to present something that allows us to have better commitment into the upcoming phase. But with that point, I've talked a lot during this. Matthew, why don't you go ahead and tell our viewers who are not currently on Twitter and everything the big news that has just changed about DC and who has now become...
Oh, no. Yeah, I almost mentioned this earlier. DC, we've mentioned this a couple of times, that DC needed their own Kevin Feige. And they've done it.
Our prayers have been answered.
Yep. Forgive me because I don't have his co-CEO, but James Gunn has been named the co-CEO of the Disney portion of Warner Brothers. So that means the man that's responsible for
Peter Safran.
Peter, thank you. The man responsible for the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the one I revealed a couple of weeks ago that David and I love, which is a horror-esque, The Belko Experiment. Suicide Squad. James Gunn is responsible for a lot of that stuff, or all that stuff, and more. And so he is now taking the helm of DC. And we know that Warner Brothers / DC has pulled back a lot of proposed projects. They're like, wait a minute, we're losing money. We have fucked up on a lot of this stuff. Excuse me. We want to focus our energies on Batman, Superman, and Aquaman and Green Lantern. I mean, they're focusing basically in on the Justice League, but wanting to do it right. They know by fans' reactions that they wanted Henry Cavill as Superman, and that's what we're getting. I still think we're going to I don't know if we're going to end up with Affleck back. We're damn sure going to end up with what's his name as Aquaman. I don't know that we'll see him. Yeah, I don't know that we'll see another Wonder Woman movie, but I expect that we'll see her in as Wonder Woman because she is popular.
Ezra Miller?
Yeah, I think Ezra is. Yeah, I think Ezra has burned that bridge. Right.
Too much. He's done too much. I can't forgive this.
No, it's just too much. I mean, you know, an occasional Junkrin rampage is one thing, but the rest of this is too much. At this point, I'm wondering if we're ever going to see the damn Flash movie.
Which is a shame. There's so much potential in the storyline for Flash that for some reason people just don't. Oh my goodness, a James Gunn Flash production. Oh, man,
there's a whole other
Flash and everything. Woo!
And that's a shame because I do like Ezra Miller at his version of the Flash. And so it's a shame because we are hearing rumblings that he's going to be replaced. I still suspect that we're going to see his Flash movie. It has screened really well. There's been really great feedback on it. And there's so much money that was spent on it and reshoots and everything. I fully suspect it may be a little while. They might hold off and hoping his ass goes to rehab or whatever and calms the hell down. And I say he, I mean they. But yeah, we got to end this. That's a whole nother can of worms to open. Folks, in our opinion, after we've went through all that we've went through on Black Adam, both of us agree, and we had not talked before the show. Both of us agree it is damn sure worth the watch, especially if you're like us and you don't know anything about the character and the Justice Society, and you getting introduced to these different characters. It's a very enjoyable movie. My wife enjoyed it. His fiance or girlfriend enjoyed it. Look, I just engaged you.
I hope she's not watching. But guys, I want to thank you for sticking around and catching this. We always do appreciate the support that you provide. Keep in mind that we have shows coming up tomorrow and our normal Sunday show. I also want to say, guys, I know DC is a big company. James Gunn is now becoming a CEO. Dwayne Johnson put a lot of effort into this. It is good to support them so that they know moving forward we can continue getting more developed and better movies, and they can still have this fan bases on them. We're telling you this is one worth backing.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it. There was a few things that could have been better, but I can do that with any damn movie out there. But going in, knowing as little as I did about the characters, I thought it was a fun watch. I wish I'd have taken a few more notes, but the more notes I take, the longer the shows are. Folks, I hope y'all have enjoyed it. And like I said earlier, even if you weren't able to join the live show tonight, make sure you leave your comments on YouTube. I do check those. And if I'm slow, then just prod me on Matthew@geekinsider.com. Of course, if you miss this show or you want to listen to it on the go, we're available on every major podcasting platform. Just look for Geek Insider. David, any final words before I cut our throats?
Nope. Thank you, everybody.
All right, folks, y'all have a great week. And then we're going to play this little outro that we love so much. And I haven't said it in a little while. Meredith, we love you. We miss you. And, of course, we always say it at the very end of every show.
Oh, that does it for this episode of Into the Geekverse. If you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And if you want to join us live, hit that bell so you never miss a show. Want to catch us on the go? Listen to our podcast on every major platform, but you can catch the real fun on YouTube. Be sure to visit geekinsider.com for tons of great geek content and advertising opportunities. And if you want to stay up to date on all things geeky, sign up for our newsletter. We'll see you next Sunday at 9 p.m. Central. And if you're not here, we might have to revoke your geek card. Have a great week, everyone.